In this video, we're going to complete the square when we have a coefficient of x squared that is not 1. So, completing the square, first thing we need to actually do is deal with that 2. We can't have a number in front of the x squared because when we complete the square, there needs to be x by itself. That's highlighted with the fact that the question wants it in this form. There's no number with x. So what we have to do is we need to remove that 2. We can't just divide everything by 2 because this thing is an expression. So we have to remove 2 as a factor, or in other words, take it out as a factor. So removing 2, that will leave us with x squared. What we also need to do is take a factor of 2 out of 12x, which will then leave us with 6x by taking that 2 out. Whether or not you choose to take the factor of 2 out of this number 30, or whether or not you want to leave 30 on the side, is entirely up to yourself. I'm going to show both ways here. The first one is where I do take it out, and the second one is where I don't. So I'll do 2x squared plus 6x, and then I'll just leave plus 30 over on the side here. Okay. Then what we do is we actually do the completing the square. So our first 2 terms here, or our 2 terms there, we're going to complete the square of that. So half of that 6 will give us a 3. So we end up with an x plus 3 all squared for both of these. Then that 3, we square it and take it away. So we're going to have a minus 9 on the outside. Then rewriting the rest in, we have a 2 bracket, we have a plus 15 here, close bracket. Whereas this one, we have a 2 bracket, and the closed bracket goes there with the 30 on the outside. After that then, each one has a slightly different step next. The first one, we tidy up what's inside here, the minus 9 plus 15, which gives us a 6. All of this is still inside that big bracket with the 2 on the outside. And when we multiply that 2 out, we end up with a 2 times the 6 to give us a 12. And then a 2 multiplied by this bracket here. We don't actually want to break it out because that would just take us back to square 1. So we just write it as 2 beside the bracket that is squared with a plus 12 on the outside. For the other one, when we break out this dark blue bracket, we write a 2 in front of that red bracket, or 2 in front of that x plus 3 all squared, just like we did with the other one. And then that 2 times the minus 9 gives you a minus 18. Then you deal with that 30 on the outside, and that will give you a plus 12 on the end. Same answer either way, 2 different ways of completing the square with the a in the front. Next example. Slightly different looking in the sense that your a's, b's, and c's are a slightly different role. You've also got negatives in the mix, but technically you can do completing the square exactly the same as you did before. One way you can kind of make it look the same as the types before is rewrite this in a way that is more familiar. So you could say that a minus b bracket x plus c all squared is the same as minus b bracket x plus c all squared plus a. Now we can also do that with our numbers. Our expression, the 12x minus 3x squared. I'm going to rewrite that the other way around, minus 3x squared plus 12x. Now it's important to note that there is technically a plus 0 in the end here. There's no number that's there to deal with, which in a way makes completing the square easier, but can confuse folk at times. So we still have the same problem as we did last time. Our x squared is not on its own. It's not a single x squared, so we've got to get that, not only the 3, but the negative 3 out as a factor. That will then leave us with a x squared. Careful, because when we take negative 3 out as a factor of 12, positive 12, you will be left with minus 4x. Then we're going to complete the square with x squared and minus 4x. So half of minus 4 is minus 2. And then when we square 2 and take it away, that will give us a minus 4 on the outside. And then we've got that negative 3 to deal with at the front. That negative 3, when you break out the dark blue brackets, will just be written in front of the red one, in front of the x minus 2 all squared, because again, we're trying to write it in this form, we're not wanting to expand. And the minus 3 times the minus 4 will make a plus 12, and that's it, complete the square form. Done.